All right, guys, it's night number 3, and boy, I am tired. It seems like nothing is getting done on this thing. So we worked on it Sunday night, Monday night. Tonight is now Tuesday night. So this is 3 nights in a row. And honestly, except for what Brian has sanded and the front fender's gone, it looks about the same. Even though it's not. This is the stage of the putting together, the rebuild that just takes a lot of time for little minute stuff. It's like stuff you get done, and then it doesn't look any different though. So you're like, what in the world? So let me show you what we got right now, and I'll show you. I'm gonna work on it a few more hours. I've been over here now for about 3 hours tonight. I think it is, yeah, about 3 hours already. So getting pretty tired. So taking a little sit down, but let me show you what we got done. Check this out. All right, so the first thing you notice, man, this is much easier to film if you're like sitting down here. So the fuel system is now done. I've got all the fuel system stuff back on the car. Everything was fine, reused everything, which I should have. The only thing I had to do was I made this line just a little bit shorter, mounted the oil filter to the front plate there, rerouted all the lines, make sure I got those on correct. If you put those on incorrect, it's a no-go. Since this is a little bit closer, I've got to get another adapter. That's the wrong size. This is number 4. That's a number 6. I had a little short piece number 6, but actually that's going to work out perfect. We'll put adapter in there, and then that'll keep that line away from the belt drive. So I still haven't pulled the radiator out. I did have another change of thought on the front, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of aluminum, 1/8 inch thick, and I'm going to go those squares. I planned to do that with the plastic fuel cell, but the plastic fuel cell was a little tall, so I went back with an aluminum one. This is a Rhodes, so basically all I got to do, this fits perfect. It's a little bit shorter by about 2 inches, but it's actually 4 gallons, so it's a little wider this way and this way. So I think it's going to work out a little bit better. So basically we'll bolt that piece of aluminum to the frame, and then this will bolt right to that piece of aluminum. The other good thing about that is, so we got these straps on here. All the weight won't be hanging on these little pull tabs here. And we'll probably go ahead and put a couple straps on it as well, just across the sides, and just to help so that this is not holding everything down. But side to side, I mean, it should be fine. We're going to take this and weld it right here in the middle. So I'm fixing to go ahead and do that now, and then I'm going to do a return. These are vents. One of them is a rollover vent, and the other one is just a regular return. What we normally do is the rollover vent, we leave it the way it is, and then the return, we'll put a line up and run it down past the tank here, and then basically extend it down. And what happens if the car turns upside down, since that'll be down below the fuel cell, it won't leak. So that's what we're going to do there. Probably do that on both of them, just to make sure it's good. But then we're going to do the return like right here, just right here. And so those two number 8 vents, we're feeding it with number 12. We're not feeding it with number 16. That's how the old cell was, and that was plenty of flow. Sometimes you run into, if you have a very, very, very high flowing pump, then if you can't get enough air in here, it'll actually suck the cell in and make the pump cavitate. Actually, it won't suck the cell in, but it'll make the pump cavitate because it can't get the air in fast enough to actually get the fuel out. So that's something to think about. But being a 12, and then those two number 8s will be fine. That's the way the other one was. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drill me a hole in this, go ahead and TIG weld this fitting on, and go ahead and TIG weld this other fitting on up here. The other thing you have to be kind of careful of, you know, I may put this over here. I need to look at how it's going to lay out with the pump. Right there is pretty much like a 90 and straight over, probably like a 6-inch piece. If I do this, then probably I can still do a 90 and just do a little S curve. The thing you want to be careful of is if you have a return that is directly over a feed, it aerates the fuel, because imagine like this thing is returning a boatload of fuel because the pump's too strong, and so it's returning a bunch of fuel, and then it just doesn't work out good. So you always want to have the return kind of on the opposite side, or a little bit of away from the way this thing is feeding the fuel pump. Let me show you real fast. It's going to sit down in here, basically like right there, and you see how it's going to slide up under the actual turbo. The other one would not do that. The other one wouldn't go up under the turbo. So that's the reason I went with this one. All right, guys, we got this thing ready to weld up here. Just take a one of the unibits, and I always try to round that off a little bit. They give a little bit more taper. This is like an ICT billet, a little taper. That thing right there is awesome. It just goes in there and holds it, and then that way it just gives you a better weld. Also, kind of the bigger this is, sometimes the better. See, these guys, they really hammer it on with a big weld, and we're going to do the same thing just to get it on there. And then this one is going to be right here on the top. So just using Brian's Miller Diversion 180. This thing works awesome. And basically, you set it on aluminum or stainless steel, and then you go to town. We're using 220 plug, but this one will also do 110. So let's weld this up real fast. All right, well, I ain't no fabricator, but it's stuck together. Not too bad, I think. I think that will hold just fine. Got the top one up here too. Now, something also, if I was gonna care about this and reuse this and make sure this was plastic is away from this, but I'm gonna take this off, and I've got the one that screws in. Makes it a little easier. These plastic ones with methanol kind of gets all jacked up. So like I said, rollover vent, and that is the return up here. So yeah, this is gonna work. I think it'll be fine. Like I said, not best in the world, but I ain't no welder. All right, let's get the radiator out real fast and go ahead and weld the bungs on the radiator. Oh boy, okay, we're getting closer. These are welded on. I didn't bother to time lapse that. It was a little more of a pain in the butt because it was really thin. This is thin and that's thin, but I think it worked out okay. There again, not the best welds, but the radiator is done now. Dash 16, this will be plenty of flow. This is a cross flow, so basically it comes out here, goes back in here, goes down this, comes down, and then goes out this one over here. There's not a divider there. I wonder why they got that split right there. Because it goes, that's exactly what it does. Oh, I know why it's there. No, there shouldn't be a divider there. The divider should, I have no idea why there's a divider there. Or maybe there's not. Maybe it's just, they just do the tanks, two of them. That makes no sense to me. But basically that's what happens. The water comes this way and then goes across and then comes down. So let's put it back in. Man, I'm tired. 3 nights, not a lot done. I mean, I guess it's got a lot done, but it doesn't have a lot done. Radiator's in, installed, mounted, so that's fine. Hopefully fenders will be here in the next couple days. Brian's gonna prime this thing. Norman's gonna come over and help work on this thing next time we're over here. So we'll get the seat mounted in. Basically, it's just got a piece of metal on the bottom of the floor, so all we gotta do is, it's already got holes drilled. All we gotta do is drill the holes up through it, put it in there, put the seat cover in it, and attach the back up there. We do need to build another, like we were talking about earlier, we gotta get more drive shaft loop down here. We'll go ahead and get the shifter mounted. I've got all the stuff. We're gonna decide, I don't think I'm gonna put my transmission cooler up front. I'm gonna put it in the back. I may just even put it in the car here, honestly, just like mount it right here in between that door. And then that way we're good to go. And I mean, it produces a little bit of heat. It's gonna be cold to dig or die, so it might help us stay warm. I was thinking about moving that radiator to the back, but I just don't have much room back there. I mean, there is room, but there's not really room to do what I was, hoping I could do. But we may end up with a little radiator at some point. But we're getting closer. We still got basically like 2 weeks, but really we've only got a week because we need to be testing next Saturday so that we don't show up at dig or die untested. I mean, we got some good data, but one of the things, I got to get a gear. We got to change the gear too. We still got a lot of work to do. Front end needs to be raised up, back end needs to be lowered. It's got sand tufts on the back. I may end up putting my QA1s back there just because I'm real familiar with them. Up front here, we're kind of screwed right now as far as like having some adjustability, but you know, it is what it is. What's up, guys? Day number 4. So I've been over here a few minutes. We've been working on it. I'm tired. I think I've caught the funk that Kelly has. So probably not gonna be able to work on it a ton tonight, but let me show you what we're trying to get done before we get out of here tonight. And then hopefully Saturday, maybe Saturday, we can get this thing wired up and cranked. That is the plan. Check it out, guys. All right, guys, so I've been over here working for a little bit. We got the fuel cell mounted in here. We did end up getting a piece of aluminum plate there. That piece of aluminum plate is bolted to the studs that come up. Somebody had mentioned on the video that was for weights. I guess it could have been. I don't know if it was or not. I don't ever have to put weight on the front of a car. But fuel cell turned out good. We stole that one. We robbed that off of the old fuel cell. Now, there's a couple people that were talking about Brent with PFI Speed, that he had a fire, backfired out the blow-off valve or turbo or something, and it caught the fuel on fire. Luckily, there's a couple things going for us. Methanol is not super flammable on the vapors. There's not a lot of vapors in there. But what we will do is I'll put a 90-degree on it, and like I said, I'll run it down and away, so I think we'll be okay. So that's good. All we gotta do is tighten down the bolts here, and that'll be fine. I got parts and pieces to finish the oil line there. Somebody had mentioned something about the oil line being close to the belt. It's actually gonna be like way up here. Now the fuel line is gonna go down to right there, but that's far enough away where I think we'll be good. So I think we'll be okay there. Norman and Brian are in here too. So Norman's over there now mounting the shifter. He's gonna mount that to that bracket. So that's good. We're going to go ahead and mount this seat tonight, hopefully. Game plan tonight, I'm almost done with the fuel cell. Get Norman to get the shifter mounted and go ahead and hook up the shifter cable. Go ahead and get everything done on that. Figure out where we're gonna mount the transmission cooler, put the seat in it, permanent home, and a couple people were talking about the dry shaft loop, and we are going to modify that. I mean, I said we got a good one in here. I mean, we got a good one for the yoke, but it's not real good for the dry shaft. If that yoke comes apart, that dry shaft's gonna be slinging everywhere. So we're probably gonna go back 10 or 12 inches-ish, maybe 18 inches back, might put a couple of them. And we're gonna go back, and then we are gonna kind of cage it in. And I've got that piece of metal. We're gonna put that on there as well, because that is really close. The drive shaft is super, super, super close to where we're at, and we don't want to have a problem there. Norman, what are you doing?
Shifter.
Having fun. Check this out too, guys. I picked up fenders. Oh, Brian's already put them over there. They were local. We found some local, believe it or not. Actually, I didn't. Kent that's over here, just painting over here some, doing motorcycle stuff. He had a buddy that had some Saturn stuff. And so, yeah, so that was pretty cool. So we got that locally. So yeah, that's what the game plan is tonight. So we'll see how much we can get done. Hopefully it goes pretty good. We'll see. I'll let you know in just a few minutes how it's all shaking out. All right, so making progress. Brian's got this wood heater going, and he thinks it's got some fat lighter in it. That thing is pumping and putting out like tons of heat. Like tons. That is wild. Wild, wild, wild. Hot, baby. All right, guys, so the fuel cell is mounted. That actually turned out really nice. Looks really good, very secure. This is the return line again. So it is nice and tucked in away from everything. The oil feed line is good here. So we are getting close. We might have a little bit of difficult time getting the fuel in here and not in the turbo because it's so far down, but I think it'll be okay. All right, guys, so we did run into another problem. This transmission I had screwed up and got Anton to put it with the rear exit mount, which that worked out good because Norman has now got our Pro Bandit shifter mounted here. None of this is mounted up yet, but we're working on getting it mounted, the other safety loop and stuff, but the shifter is done. But my bracket did not work. The bracket that come down through here, I've got to order another bracket. Basically, it's going to move it up so that it'll attach it. We're going to have to change the throttle cable here. We got a lot of stuff to get done. The seat is mounted in here, so I think we're in good shape here. We started working on this as well, getting the steering column so it's going to work. We've got some work to do, but Saturday we're going to be hard at it. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up tonight, Thursday night. So day number 4, working on it. Appreciate Brian and Norman coming over. Saturday, I know Brandon's coming over. I think Randy's coming over as well. Norman's going to come back over. So we're going to try to knock this thing out, and maybe we can get this thing cranked up. Possibly. Brian's going to be working on the body. We got the fender, so he's going to get that thing in prime and paint it pretty soon. Appreciate all the help, guys. Y'all comment, like, and subscribe. Appreciate y'all watching the channel. Head on over to turbojohnracing.com. Grab some Crash merchandise. Thanks, guys.